Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi. I just filmed a whole video and the sound was off somehow. So yay, I get to do it again. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. And first off, my weight update, which is, I'm gonna warn you, not positive, but I'm going to talk about that later on. So my last update was Thursday, Thanksgiving morning. I was 180.8. That was a 5-2 week. And I was actually happy with that. And then as predicted, after Thanksgiving, I went camping. I had 4 days of eating, and then only a 5-2 week again, because I went to California to help my sister. So I was at 182.1, which is 1.3 pounds up. And basically I had a big challenge just staying motivated last week. You know, I was coming off, I was up 8 pounds from the 4 days of eating, which is not a record. My record is, I think, 9.2 pounds after my trip to Disneyland back in February. But the difference there was, like, when I got back from Disneyland, that following week, I was able to have a 3-day fasting, 3 days of fasting, and I cut sugar out and, got back down really quickly. Whereas that was not what happened the week after Thanksgiving. And so I'm going to talk about that. And today's video is going to be maybe a little bit random, a little bit of rambling, just a lot of my thoughts and feelings. So hopefully that appeals to you, and I hope that I don't bore you too much. So it's not that I was close to quitting, it's just that I was feeling very unmotivated and having a lot of those thoughts, just like the devil in your head telling you, like, oh, you don't need to fast today, go ahead and eat all the treats, blah blah blah, stuff like that. I did not listen to that voice as far as not fasting, but the eating portion was not great. And I feel like when we give ourselves these expectations that are perhaps a little unrealistic in a certain situation, that's when you feel this heavy guilt and maybe shame over what you're doing, and that you just feel like you're not doing well. Whereas if we were to adjust our expectations, then it might make it a little easier to stay motivated, because you're not expecting, Y result after putting in X. And, so basically, I got back from my camping trip, and my holiday tradition for Christmas is to make caramels. I know a lot of people pronounce it caramel, but I say caramel. That's just how I was raised to say it. But I make caramels, and I make like 2 to 3 batches of them, and they're so good, you guys. Just like the most rich, decadent things. And unfortunately, I have a very high tolerance for them, and I can eat a lot without getting sick. But anyway, so I made a batch of those on Sunday, and then you have to let them set. And Monday, I was totally able to cut them and wrap them and put them in bags without a problem while I was fasting, and it was fine. But Tuesday, when I started to eat again, I told myself I was just gonna have 1 piece, okay? But that's not what happened. And I have learned something about myself that I'm gonna try really hard to remember, and that is that the first thing I eat, so I always break my fast with nuts pretty much all the time. A handful of nuts when I wake up, and then about an hour later I'll eat whatever. And it really doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's not candy, like sugar, straight sugar, some sort of treat, which caramel is pure sugar, like 5 different forms of sugar all wrapped up in one, and so good. But yeah, so that was the first thing I ate, and that was a mistake. So I had more after that and other things, and so that eating day was not the greatest. And so it was just hard, a little defeating to know that my weight was going to be up and that it was going to kind of continue to be up because, you know, then I went to California, also had 4 days of eating, and ate a lot again. And then, so I'm going to talk more about that update in 2 weeks. What I'm going to do is, next week is going to be a different video. I'm not going to do like my normal weekly update. So I will kind of do a recap, in 2 weeks from this week that I'm in and the following week. But anyway, so that is something that I've learned, and I did push through. I fasted fully those 2 days. And I just was having a hard time being motivated. And I feel like this is probably something that a lot of people are dealing with right now, because maybe you're having the same thing where, you know, you're having a little bit less fasting days, or you're eating more on your eating days, and your weight is either going up or stalling, depending on where you're at in your journey. And here's the thing about the difference between this holiday season and last holiday season. So last holiday season, I had just started alternate day fasting, and I was kind of on that like fast track, right? I was doing a diet bet, transformer. So I was in this competition with myself, trying to earn back the money I put in for that. So I was really consciously watching my weight and making sure that I was, you know, hitting those goals. Whereas right now I'm not doing that. And, my only accountability really is reporting to you guys. And of course the fact that I do care myself, but there's not that like extra layer of pressure, which I love on one hand, but I have to also recognize that that is why there's a difference this year, is that I'm not like pushing myself as much. And so I've allowed myself to have, you know, more fasting days off, and also eating more treats during the week, which is not ideal. But I've kind of just made peace with it, that as much as I wanted my December average to be either staying the same as November or coming down, the likelihood of that is very slim to nil. I'm probably going to be up, but that's okay, because January will be a fresh start. And it's not that I'm going to start this new program or like start pushing myself like crazy or anything. It's just that I won't be going anywhere, and I, you know, I won't have all of the temptations that I do right now. So, and that's okay. Like if I allow myself to have the treats, I think mentally it's just healthier for me to be okay with it than to think that I am cheating somehow or something. And so, you know, my goal right now is just to keep fasting when I can, maintain that schedule, and try to incorporate healthy things into my diet, less than restricting anything as far as saying, I can't have this, I can't have that. I think that works out better for me mentally in the long run. So that's my plan right now. And it's basically finding motivation. To me is just about putting one foot in front of the other sometimes. And it's really not any different than all the other things that I don't feel like doing that I have to do all the time. You know, like I don't feel like doing the laundry, but I do it anyway. I don't feel like battling my kids to do school, but I do it anyway. I don't feel like exercising, but I do it anyway, right? Like, and it's not, I think when we expect to always feel like doing something, we're not gonna do it, because you're not gonna feel like doing a lot of things. But I know that I can fast, and I can push through a difficult fast. And I know that I feel so much better when I've done it. I know that, and so I just do it. And that's what finding motivation is for me, is just basically kicking myself in the butt and doing it, because you know what, like sometimes you just don't feel like doing something, and that's been the case for me this week. I also wanted to mention, as far as fasting and hormones, my experimentation. So this past week was the week before my cycle. Thanksgiving Day was actually day 17. So in my last video on this, I talked about how Dr. Mindy recommends days 17 through 21 actually sometimes helping as far as fasting less and watching what you're eating as far as building progesterone. So those were the days that I was camping. So I was eating anyways. But then when I came back was actually day 21 was a fasting day, and I did fast a full day that day. I just felt like I needed to, and I did not need to modify my fast. And so I guess what my conclusion for this whole thing has been is that you just have to listen to your body. And if you feel like you need something, maybe you do. And I would suggest on those days, 17 through 28. And I actually started my period early this time on day 25, which was kind of strange. I was in California at my sister's, and I don't know if it had something to do with that, like the stress of travel, or I don't know. But I started early, so that was weird. But anyway, my point being is that my conclusion is just that you have to do an experiment on yourself. And I don't think that alternate day fasting is harmful. If you are doing keto, you may need to add in some of those foods. I don't know. You know, some people say they don't and they're fine and their periods are normal and their hormones are normal. But some people have a different experience where they lose their period, or, you know, they're just having a lot of issues. So really just work on looking into that. I will link Dr. Mindy's video again if you want to watch that, what I'm talking about. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll also link part 1 and 2 of what I'm talking about in my experiments with it so far. For me, I don't think it makes a huge difference. I do think that my progesterone cream that I've used has helped me, and I will continue to use that. I also will continue to be mindful of the foods that I'm eating and adding in those progesterone building foods during those week and a half or whatever leading up to my period. So yeah, you just have to see how you feel. If you're having like persistent hunger that is just really strong and not going away, that might be a sign that you need to eat. Maybe do like an OMAD or something on a fasting day, or a modified fast. Just see how you feel. Also, if you're just having really strong PMS symptoms, that could be a sign that something is off and you need to adjust. So really just listening to your body, and I will continue to experiment. And if I have anything to report that I feel like I've learned, I will definitely tell you. Otherwise, I'll probably just not mention it again because I'm not an expert and this is just me and my life. So I try to do what feels best for me. So I hope you can do that for yourself as well. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to all of my ramblings. I know it was kind of all over the place today, but I just wanted to convey that message that if you're having a hard time finding motivation right now, that's okay. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means that you're going to have to push yourself a little bit, and also be gracious about your results right now. I think, that's the thing. You can control your input to some degree, but you can't always control the output. And sometimes the output is not ideal, which is your weight or your measurements or whatever. But as long as you consistently put in that effort and have the right mindset, it'll all come out okay. I believe that. So hope you're doing well, and I will catch you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.